So let's start with the basic details. Sonny Boy is a 2021 release with 3 of 12 episodes out as of the time of writing, streaming on Funimation and Hulu. It's animated by Madhouse, who are famous for a whole host of series over the years with solo work from One Punch Man to Death Parade. Now the anime centers around a school stuck in a different dimension with 36 students in total, some of whom begin to develop superpowers, though not in the typical sense. As time passes, they have to confront the reality of their situation, if they're able to ever return to the real world, how they could do so, and what to do in the meantime. This seems like it'll be a perfect opportunity to develop some strong thematic elements. They begin to establish a society with binding rules, which are enforced by either someone's hidden powers or a seeming will of this new dimension they find themselves in. How will these inbuilt rules conflict with their society, and should they even be establishing one in the first place? The first episode lays the groundwork for a questioning of this kind of typical order they designed, from those with power to conformists to individualists. And it's immediately obvious that those at the top of the pecking order may not have the best intentions, although what lies beneath the surface is still anyone's guess. The pairing of these odd superpowers with a fledgling society is a great combination and has the potential to go very far, exaggerating societal faults. Speaking on those powers, it's also probably going to be a deconstruction on the idea of superpowers and in turn, speciality as well. So far, none of them are quite defined, and they range from something with electricity to a shifting or shattering of perception or reality. There's a lot of room for them to play with things here, and to me that's a good sign. They immediately touch on what these powers mean for them, from insulting those who already rely on them to be special to those who seem to be hiding them. I definitely believe there will be a continuation of this idea. So far, 3 groups arise in it. Those who are special here due to their powers, those who are special in the real world, and those who are special in both. Maybe the climax will incorporate these elements into a meaningful message about the costs and benefits to oneself due to society, or at least that's how I would handle it. But you're probably wondering who's special in both worlds, and so far it seemed to be Nozomi, an odd girl who goes against typical conventions. She doesn't have a smartphone, so she misses the group communications they use. She rips up her books on the roof, peeks into others' meetings, and asks odd questions like if lying on the floor is fun. It makes it hard to get a read on her, which could go either way, but so far she's a mix of unique and likable with an unease that surrounds her. She sees feathers that others don't, but denies seeing anything when Nagara, one of the other main characters, asks. She takes them as a sign of escape and acts on it, something that immediately sets her apart from the rest of the cast. Where she doesn't stand out though is that unease or lack of trust feeling. The entire cast feels like they have some heavy baggage, which we already see in Cap. But Nagara's unease is quite the opposite of theirs. Where Nozomi gives me a feeling of individualism, he screams conformity and complacency, saying things like rules are rules and ignoring anything that doesn't directly concern him. Yet when Nozomi is seemingly in danger or annoying him, he shows some signs of life in action, so he'll undoubtedly have some important flare-ups later. It's clear something in his past influences his behavior, but it's unclear as of what yet. What is apparent though is a sense of false connection. There's a scene where he speaks to his homeroom teacher who says Nagara can talk to him about anything, and he says he's glad to have him as a teacher. And the fact that he hangs around Nozomi even though she seemingly annoys him and they don't connect in any way. It all feels so dry and performative, which really leaves a lonely feeling to things that I love. A crucial part of this was some liberally utilized silence, which scores most of the episode. Rather than ambient music, the bare necessity of sound is played, really aiding the somewhat unnerving sense that prevails. It feels uncomfortable once you notice it, like something could jump out at all times, which is a detail I loved. But sometimes this didn't quite hit the mark. As the form of the school is plunged into chaos, a few students scream, but for the number shown it feels very weak, like only a handful of people are reacting out of 36. This only comes up a couple times, but it really took me out of the moment. Now I don't need to spend too much time speaking on the animation since you've been seeing it here, but I will mention a few things. Deconstructed is probably the best way to put it, as it maintains what animation is but stylizes a few aspects. Some of the backgrounds are more like paintings than anything directly mimicking reality, and the void the school is dropped into is just pitch black. While sometimes it feels a bit cheap and some animations are reused already, there's also a lot of potential for this to play into things thematically. Since I feel it'll go down the path of deconstructing things like society and speciality, an art style that matches that can be the difference between just another anime and something great. There's already visuals to match story elements, like Nagara being shown in front of a storm, while Nozomi the clear sky, matching the levels of internal conflict I got from each. Nozomi pushes boundaries as she does with the cat when we're introduced to her, and as their thoughts and orders shatter and distort, so do their surroundings. So it uses the animation to the advantage of the story, it seems. Now for me this isn't a problem, but if you want modern and pure animation, it might hamper your experience. But overall, I will be watching Sonny Boy once it's complete. It hits some key boxes. Coherence, an interesting concept, a seemingly original take on dark thematic elements, no clear right versus wrong as of yet, and in conjunction with that, characters who could go to either the light or the dark. Hopefully I won't be wrong on this one because it's going to go some worthwhile places, I think. Anyway, important links down below. Thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you again soon.